Hello and good morning to you all. It's Little Blue here. How are you all doing? It is Sunday morning and I'm currently lying in my bed because I'm full of aches and pains. My hip is really painful and I think I've slept funny because my neck is also really painful and it's given me a headache because my neck is painful. So I thought I'll have a few minutes, have a lie down, take some time out. Baby Blue is fine. She's happily playing on her own, so good opportunity to get some time to myself. And while I'm doing it, I thought I'd have a chit chat with you guys, see how you're all doing. How's your weekend going? Ours started okay. Yesterday we spent the morning in, just drinking tea, having breakfast, watching some DVDs together. Really lovely morning. And then we had lunch and popped out to get some free samples from my friend who is a Darcy's rep. Now, if you didn't know, Darcy's products they're the type of products that make your house smell nice. So candles, wax melts, reed diffusers, all those sorts of things. And they are really great products. They're a relatively small company, but they have reps that distribute all of their products for them. But they've stayed small, which is why I love it. But also, their products last. They really properly last and they smell amazing. So Laura's given me some of the new Christmas range because I'm looking for some Christmassy smells because my spring one is lovely, but it just seems wrong to do it now. I don't know why. So currently burning Christmas Spirit, which is really nice. It's a good contender for the one that I do buy. She's given me about 6 or 7 free samples and then I'll choose one to buy and then I'll burn that for the whole of the winter pretty much. But there's a spiced apple one, which is intriguing. I do love spiced apple. That is Christmas through and through. It may be that I might have to buy spiced apple nearer to December and then have this Christmas Spirit one leading up to Christmas to get you in the Christmas spirit. Ha ha, cheesy. But yeah, no, go check out Darcy's stuff because it's a little bit expensive, but it's expensive and it lasts. That's the thing. I mean, one little wax melt lasts, I don't even know, probably more than a week for me. It depends on how long you burn it for, but yeah, for me it lasts over a week, maybe even 2 or 3. I've bought a packet for the spring and I'm still going through the free samples of it that I had. So yeah, they're incredible. They do last, and I've got some ready for next year now. So incredible. But yeah, so we went to pick up those free samples in town, and then we went to a pumpkin show. It's like a proper country bumpkin type afternoon. Locals grow pumpkins, gourds, squashes, all that sort of stuff, and then they put it on display in a local church hall, and then you can go and see them. They usually run a little competition for kids where they can go and find things and then get a prize. And then they've got arts and crafts and stuff like that and teas and coffees. So we went and did that for the morning, which was lovely. However, when we were just about to go, we were sat in the lobby and just a few feet from us, these double doors opened. And no joke of a lie, this 8-foot Pikachu came through. And it wasn't a guy dressed up in one of those nice fuzzy suits that you normally get. No, this was like the guy was wearing a Pikachu-shaped balloon. It was like an inflatable Pikachu. And Baby Blue screamed the place down. Because he must have seen a child and thought, oh, it's a child. Yay, I can finally get my Pikachu going. Ran at her. And she doesn't like dressed up characters anyway. But when a 8-foot inflatable Pikachu is running at you, she screamed. And yeah, we had to leave basically. Usually we do quite well. If she sees them, she'll get scared initially and then we'll let them walk past and she'll watch them from a distance and then we'll gradually get closer and closer. So she's getting better. And the last time she actually gave one a high five, which is a massive progress. But when there's an 8-foot Pikachu running at you, I think I'm going to allow her to be scared because I think I'd be terrified at that too. So it kind of put her in a bad mood for the rest of the day and she started playing up. We started having tantrums and yeah, it got generally harder and harder. And it resulted in a 20-minute walk home being over an hour long. And she literally sat in the middle of the path while it was peeing it down with rain, refusing to walk. And I had to push her, drag her, pick her up with a bad hip, and try and get her home somehow in the rain, because she just wouldn't move. Every time you put her down, she'd scream, she'd go floppy, she'd do all that stuff. And I was in a lot of pain from my hip. I had lots of bags to carry, and my main concern was she was getting so wet because all her face paint that she had was just dripping. So her face was getting wet, her hair was getting wet. She had a hood up and she had a waterproof coat on, but her face was just drenched. My fault for not bringing the umbrella, but she just was not playing ball. And to passers-by, it must have looked awful, but in the reality of it was I was literally just tapping her back with my fingers, but she was exaggerating everything, going, "Oh, you're hurting me, you're hurting me." I was literally tapping her with my fingers. And when she fell over, I had to grab her coat so she didn't hit her face on the floor. So that probably just looked like I was carrying her by her coat for a while, because she refused to put her feet back on the floor. And it was all stuff like that. Proper three-nager tantrumy stuff. So when we got home, eventually, I came into the bedroom and I just had a breakdown on my bed, and told her she wasn't allowed to come and see Mummy because Mummy needed some me time. When I came back into the room, she was very sorry, and she said sorry, gave me a cuddle, but she couldn't understand why I was still cross. So I think she's learnt a bit of a lesson that if you do truly pee someone off, it's going to take a while for them to get over it. But we ended up making dinner together, and we ate dinner. I watched a bit of Strictly while she was watching Moana, and because I was watching Strictly and not watching Moana with her, she decided to come and scratch me. Great. So unfortunately she went to bed with no story or pudding. So it was just a bit of an upsetting afternoon. I hate being the bad cop, but when you're a single parent, you have to be good cop and bad cop. So it's one of those horrible things where you know it has to be done, because if you don't set ground rules, if you don't let them know when they're doing something wrong, they're going to walk all over you, and it's just going to get worse and worse and not better. So I hate being the one to say no all the time, but I know the benefits of it later on in life. Sadly, older and wiser, as they say. But so it was a really tough night, and I think the fact that Strictly was on for me was great, because it meant I could just switch off all that negative energy that I'd built up, and that sort of thought process where I start hating myself and thinking I don't don't deserve to be a mother, and how all of those awful PTSD things start in your brain. It meant I could switch off and just enjoy Strictly. So I made myself a cup of tea, sat down, watched Strictly, had myself a Kit Kat Junkies, I like them. And what a good week it was. Mike Bushell really, really surprised me. He got my vote this week. I'm so glad Katya has now got rid of the gimmick, because I hate gimmicky dances. It just makes you think, oh, well, they can't dance. Just get rid of the gimmick and do the proper dances like that, because it just showed him art. It just showed him how he could do it. He can do it because he is good. And I love the fact he's embracing dance. I'm loving the fact that he's looking younger and happier. He's lost so much weight, and he just genuinely looks like his well-being just seems much better since he started Strictly. So I'm really excited to see where they're going to go. So they got my vote. Chris Ramsey pretty much got my vote just for the jacket, to be honest. I love him to bits. He's my new favourite comedian. I'm following his podcast, Shag Married Annoyed, that he does with his wife Rosie. They are hilarious, and at times of my sanctity. They're almost my sanity. And if you know them, that's a very strange thing to say. But, oh my God, they are so funny. The stories, they just give me the opportunity to laugh at something again, which is just amazing sometimes. Chris Ramsey, with his Elton John look, that was interesting, but they got my vote. I love Chris's progress. I love the fact that he, again, is really embracing it, and what it's doing for him. I'm really liking Journeys this year. I think it's because I don't know many of them to start with. But I'm really enjoying watching Journeys, and they're the ones I'm voting for. The other couple I voted for was Dev and Diane. There was Baby Blue. Sorry, she absolutely loves Dev and Diane. So they get our vote every week because they're her favourite. But they were really good, and I love the fact that Dev is really great. He just felt like he was holding back a little bit. I don't know if he wasn't comfortable with the cha-cha, but what Craig said, pretty much everything that Craig said this week actually was pretty much spot on. The contemporary, especially everything he said about Saffron's contemporary, she wasn't exaggerating it enough. And it's one of those things where it's so frustrating to watch. You're just shouting, go, no, come on, just make it like bigger. And it just didn't feel like she was going for it. But that lift they did was amazing. That definitely was brilliant. She does have moments of genius, but I think she needs to relax a bit more. And she was probably very nervous because of her nan and all of that sort of side of it. And I hope she gets to do that dance again at some point. Obviously not tonight in the dance-off, but like if she does go on to be in the final, that's one of the ones they choose, because it could do with a lot of improvement. And I think with a lot of improvement, it would be a really lovely dance for her to do because it's so meaningful to her. They need to tailor her costume a bit as well. I wasn't too keen on her costume. But anyway, Oti's costume though. Oti looked amazing. I missed her dance. I missed Oti and I missed David's dance. But from their scores and what I've been told, it sounds like they were really great. No surprise from Kelvin though. But David... yeah, I think I'm going to have to go back and watch that because he wasn't bottom of the leaderboard, bless him. And I really hope he misses out on the dance-off. But I don't think he's got the public on his side, to be honest. But we'll see how it goes tonight. It's a little bit worrying because Will, who's one of my favourites, he was bottom. Will was so inspiring, obviously, because he's proving that it doesn't matter the disability, you can still do it. But unfortunately, it wasn't his best dance this week, but it must have been so hard for him anyway, with everything that he has. He said he has no ankles, so to get rise and fall and go on your toe, it must be so hard. So he is so inspiring, so I'm hoping the public see that and try and keep him in a bit longer so he can continue being that sort of ambassador. But it's a dance competition at the end of the day, so if he goes, then it's such a shame. But I've got a really bad feeling it's going to be that week where somebody good goes because they didn't get voted for, because everyone's voted for the ones they're worried that won't get the votes. It happens every year, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see because everyone is getting so good this year. It's going to be a very interesting sort of final few weeks, sort of from Halloween onwards. So, yeah, I've really enjoyed Strictly this week. I'll be tuning into the Strictly podcast tomorrow with Joe Sugg, which I'm absolutely loving. If you didn't know about it, check it out, the Strictly podcast. It's really good. They interview the couples. It's just a little bit more of a it takes two thing, but yeah, loving it. Absolutely loving it this year. I was a bit gutted there was no pro dance though in the show yesterday. I love the pro dances, but there's probably going to be two tonight, so I'm looking forward to that. Oh, and tonight when you're watching the results show, when they're doing the name calling and saying who's still in, watch Chris Ramsey. His facial expressions are hilarious. He's not doing it on purpose. It's literally just his shock horror. Like, he looks like he's going to be sick. He looks like he's going to punch someone. He looks like he's just like worried about everything in the world. He's just so funny. Like, does weird little things with his mouth, and oh, it's hilarious. Like, his natural like reaction to that situation is so funny, and he's brought it up. So I'm not just picking on him. He's actually brought it up, and there are a lot of videos of it on YouTube, so check them out because they are funny, and it's becoming one of my favourite things. But love Chris Ramsey, really love Chris Ramsey, really hope he goes through and he's not in the dance-off. But that's the end of my podcast. Baby Blue keeps calling me, so I'm going to go and have some mummy-daughter time. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will probably see you for a podcast after the Strictly results. Take care of yourselves, have a fantastic day, and yeah, be kind to one another.